What up, world? It's your boy Suave back again. I know it's been a minute since I've done one of these videos, but like I've been telling y'all, I'm not a content creator. I do these videos really based on inspiration when it comes. I don't have a niche, so it's not like all these videos are connected or I have a common theme. It's just as I get certain inspirations and jewels that I feel should be shared and that I have the ability to share in a way that people will understand and comprehend the message I want to get across. That's when I do these videos. So this is another one of those moments. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. The topics I'm going to be focusing on in this particular video have to do with manifestation and will, and tying it together. And the reason, I know you've heard a lot of people talk about manifestation and different things like that, but what I felt, well, the revelation I had last night was I came across what I feel was an undeniable proof of the manifestation process. Because I think that is the hardest thing about trying to manifest things, is that deniability of, well, is this stuff really working? Are the actions I'm taking really going to get me where I want, to help me create the thing I want to create? So that's what the focus of this particular video is going to be on, and the reason why I'm doing this video today is because I feel I have a undeniable way of explaining manifestation that will make it make more sense. And starting to get into that, I'm going to start with the concept, as above, so below, microcosm, macrocosm, meaning there are things that happen on smaller levels that represent actions on higher levels, and from a principle standpoint, it's the same action. It's just one's happening on a smaller scale, other things happening on a bigger scale. And that's where I'm going to create this undeniability about understanding how manifestation actually works, even sometimes when you're not aware of it, but just sort of process of it. So being that we're going to go with the microcosm to the macrocosm, we're going to start at a very, very base level of manifestation that is undeniable. Now, sex. Okay. I can't speak on what that's like for women, but I can speak from a male perspective. And I feel that there are similarities in women that they can probably speak on, but I'm going to speak on it from a male perspective, undeniability of manifestation. So right now at this moment, I'm in a room by myself. If by chance there was a beautiful, desirable woman in this room that I was attracted to and the feeling was mutual or whatnot, even if the feeling wasn't mutual, but attractive woman is in the room, what's going to start happening if we're vibrating and vibing and want to, take it to that level, get intimate or whatnot, manifestation can start occurring, because that's going to start with a thought. Okay, the thought in my head, a thought in her head of us getting together and making something happen. Now, based on that thought, a thought that, hey, there's this desirable woman in the room who's desiring me as well, and we want to be intimate. Based upon that thought, the universe is going to start activating things in my body to prepare for the manifestation of that thought of having sex with this woman. Okay, that's what an erection is. Okay, an erection, blood's flowing to the lower sexual organs. You have seminal fluid building up and going down the spinal column and whatnot. All these things are in preparation, not just for sex, but for procreation. Because, not to get off topic, irregardless of feelings, which is on top, irregardless of feelings, the universe, biology, manifestation works the way it works. So, biologically speaking, when you have intercourse, when we have sex, okay, regardless of what feeling you put on it, you might just be wanting to get one off, or you might really want to express your love in a physical manner. None of that matters to biologically. Biologically, the body is preparing to procreate, because that is what the purpose, the created, intended purpose of sex is to procreate, to create more life. Now, that has nothing to do with what we as humans, the feelings and the things that we as humans attach to sex, whether it's, just release or whether it's something deeper or love. Well, now that has nothing to do with what's happening biologically in our bodies when we engage in that act of manifestation, so to speak. But again, what starts this is a thought. okay, which is at the core of all manifestation. It's about your thoughts. Guard your thoughts, protect your thoughts, because your thoughts manifest, they become actions. So if I have a thought of having sexual intercourse with a woman, okay, and we're here, we can do this. The universe is going to start manifesting, activating things in my body so that can be manifested, okay? That's undeniable, okay? Now, I mean, unless you're broken and you need pop a pill or some shit, that's a little different. But if everything's working biologically how it's supposed to, that is what's going to start activating. Even if you're broken, there's still things going to start trying to, but I'm not going to get off course. So, starting from that basis, let's do something. Take the woman out of the room. I'm back in the room by myself, okay? Matter of fact, let's take it even deeper. I'm in jail. I'm in solitary confinement, okay? Where there are no access to women and there's no action. I'm locked off by myself, okay? Now, still, if I have a thought of having relations, intercourse with a beautiful woman, guess what? Even though there is no woman in the room, in that isolated cell, in that jail cell, or no women, period, or whatever, in the prison or whatnot, the universe is going to still begin manifesting and activating things in my body to prepare for a procreation, intercourse, sexual whatnot. Even though there is no woman present, there's nobody present for me to do anything with, okay? Simply because my mind is visualizing something, the universe is going to start conspiring in my favor to make that happen, okay? Now, men, we know this. We know you can sit up and fantasize about a woman and get erection and your body will start preparing for intercourse, even though there's no woman there. That's manifestation. That's how the universe works, based upon thoughts. Because, like I said, your mind, your body does not know the difference between an actual activity happening, something actually happening in real time, and you visualizing or imagining something. So even when you visualize or imagining something, your body, your mind, the universe treats it as if it's something that's actually happening, okay, and starts preparing for that thing to actually happen. Now, let me not lose focus where I was going to connect this, to keep this going. Now, picking up from that, like I said, the body, the mind, body, universe can't tell the difference between you fantasizing or imagining about something and you being in real time about something. If you had a bad incident that happened at work, there's something I used to tell my sister about. If you had a bad incident that happened at work, okay, incident happened at 8 o'clock this morning when you came to work. When you get off work, 5 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever, you come home and you get on the phone or whatever and tell somebody about the incident that happened at work. What you're actually doing is you're reliving that incident. The incident is not happening right then and there. The incident already happened. It's in the past. But when you revisit that incident, your mind relives the incident. So if something happened that frustrated you or made you upset, when you at 8 o'clock a.m., at 7 p.m., when you're talking to your friend about it, you're reliving that 8 o'clock moment, even though you're not there, and you're going to get that same frustrated feeling or same feelings of frustration that will come back as if the action is actually happening. Same thing with traumatic experiences, okay? You see people that being interviewed and somebody asking them, about a real, touchy subject, and guess what? They might tear up a little because mentally they're reliving that experience, that unfortunate trauma, even though it's not happening there. It's not happening there. Their body, their mind feels as if they're back in that same experience, as if it is reliving it, okay? So you gotta be careful about what you thought, what you think on, what you dwell on, because it activates things. It manifests things, okay? You might start crying and it's like, hey, that happened 10 years ago. You're okay now. But you going back to that space mentally makes it feel as if it's happening all over again. And your body doesn't know the difference, so you start tearing up and getting emotional and start all the same feelings that you felt when it was happening come back again. This is part of manifestation. These are the principles of how manifestation works, okay? So, back to the man in the cell. Okay? So you have this thought, you want to manifest it. Okay? The universe starts conspiring, starts activating things to manifest it. Now, what comes into play about how this thing will manifest, or if it even will manifest, is will. Okay? Like I said, we talk about manifestation and will because the two go together. They're inseparable. There's a saying that, I don't know, I think some people feels taboo at one point in time. I think I heard because they felt it was connected to, anyway, because who I think was supposed to have said it was a polarizing figure. But there's a saying that says, do what thou wilt. Okay? And I think people get that confused or sometimes get the wrong impression of that. One that came from a guy named Aleister Crowley. If you're familiar with Aleister Crowley, he can be a polarizing figure, so we're not going to get into that. But regardless of who is saying what, truth is truth. So do what thou wilt. It's about will. What people confuse it with, and why sometimes people get a negative feeling about this phrase, is because they think it's saying, do what you want. Do what thou want. But that's not what it says. It clearly says, do what thou will. Will and want are two different things. What you want to do and what you're willing to do are not the same thing. Okay? You might want to do something, but you may not be willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And if you're not willing to do what it takes to make that happen, it's not going to happen. It's not going to manifest. There's certain things that have to happen in order for things to process. And if you're not willing to do those, no matter how bad you want something, it's not going to happen. You might want to be a millionaire. You might want to be in a relationship. You might want to have all these things in order. But if you're not willing to take the steps necessary to make that happen, it's not going to happen. It's a fairy tale. How does this play in a manifestation? Manifestation is all about what we want a lot of times. And forgive me, I'm trying to focus on the actual camera lens or whatnot and not the playback. So sometimes you see my eyes go off this way, so I'm looking at the playback to make sure, things are still in. Anyway, continuing. Manifestation is all about desire, things you want to happen, things you want to see happen. But what drives manifestation is your will. Okay? How hard are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to manifest whatever it is that you desire? And when we bring in a manifestation and will in the universe, one thing we have to take note of is that to the universe is impartial. Universal laws are impartial. That's why when you when you talk about the ancient Kemetic Egyptian mystery system, part of the reason why it was so hush-hush is because they understood the power of the knowledge they had. See, the universe is impartial. It has rules, okay? It's impartial to character or person. It rains on the just and the unjust alike. It's all impartial. It's about what you know and what you can do, what you're willing to do. Now, whether that be something positive or something perceived as negative, doesn't matter. It's about what you're willing to do. How far are you willing to go? What are you willing to do to manifest that which you want, that which you desire? Now, when we speak about will, we have to understand will is a force. You are a force. I am a force. Our will is a force. So what do we know about like science, energy? In reaction and everything, for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, you have a will to make something happen. There's an opposing will that's going to be out there. So what it comes down to in manifestation is that who's the stronger will? And again, this is positive, negative. This is not. It's just about who's willing to go the furthest to make whatever happen. So, still sticking with the theme of manifestation and the undeniability of it, and still working on this microcosm level of a man desiring to have intercourse with someone, okay, and manifesting that happening. Again, it started with the thought, started manifesting and activating things in the body to prepare for this thought to actually manifest itself in the real time. Now, there are things that might be in the way of that, okay? Like, this person's in a jail cell. As much as he might want to be with his wife, or his let's say this guy who's in jail has a girlfriend who's at home, right? And let's just really just go all out into this whole little microcosm example. Let's really butter it up real quick, real talk, just for the sake of example. Let's say this man is in jail. Let's say he murdered somebody, killed somebody, whatever. So he's got multiple life sentences or whatever. He's not getting out, not supposed to be getting out. But every day he thinks about his wife, his girl, his baby mama, and his kid or whatnot that he wants to see again. He wants to not just see through a glass. He wants to get home to them. Okay? That's what he wants. What is he willing to do to make that happen? Now, we hear all the time about people who break out of jail. That was a will thing. Okay? People were willing to do whatever it took to get out of that prison. Okay? And you hear about jailbreaks happening. And as rare as it might seem, because there are rare individuals who are willing to go to that extent to get out. But those who are willing and stay solid in their will, they find a way. Why? Because where there's a will, there's a way. Whether that means it's 10 years you got to work on something, whether that means you got to sweet talk one of the guards and the assisting you, but it's your will that's going to drive this. And how strong is your will? Because it's not like there aren't things opposing the will. You're in a 6x6 cell. Okay, that's what you're seeing in front of your face. There are guards who are opposing your will. All of these things are the fact that you're in prison. Everything in prison is opposing your will to be free. And somehow, if you're just that determined to get out of this prison, you have to find the will. And you have to stick with that will. You have to stay solid and strong in that will. Because when that will wavers, the universe responds. That's part of what frequency is. And I'm going to touch on frequency a little bit in this, because all of this frequency, will, all of it ties into manifestation. So what is he willing to do to get out of jail to manifest his thing? Now, because he's in jail, may not be able to something he can manifest like that. It may take time. That's another part of will. How much time are you willing to give to see something manifest? The movie Shawshank Redemption, I think, dude, when he took like 10 years to dig himself out of the prison or whatnot, he was willing to do that. And not only willing, but he aligned himself with the frequency of someone who wanted to be free, of someone who was going to be free. Frequency is about what you frequently do. That's what frequencies are. Like, to stay all in the same realm, I'm a type of I'm a physically active person. I work out, okay? It's another form of manifesting. I have certain wants and desires that I want to look, that I want my body to do, certain health that I desire and that I want to have, and I am willing to do what it takes to manifest that, okay? I am willing to go to the gym frequently to manifest that. That puts you on the frequency of a healthy person by frequently going to the gym, and how frequent you go to the gym. That's what the frequency wave is. It's how frequent this wave hits these points and does these things. Now, if you only go into the gym once a week, or you might go one day, take off a week, 2 weeks, come back, well, guess what? Your frequency is longer. It's because how frequently are you actually there? There's a lot of space in between the time when you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, or working out. Now, for my people who work out 3-4 times a week consistently, their frequency looks more like this. There's more consistency in them sticking to this goal, to this vision, which is what that is. Okay, so the frequency you align with, they say you have to align your frequency with something. It means you have to, it's not just to sit back and let things happen. You have to be in a mind state that's going to have you take certain actions frequently in order to manifest these things. Even if it's just frequently keeping the vision in your mind and doing little here what you can, as you can. Still, the frequency is going to build up. And eventually, if your will is strong enough, if you don't let go of that will, you can manifest pretty much anything, whether it's positive, negative, either or. So, getting back to my guy who's getting out, who wants to be free to see his baby mom. Let's say he breaks out. Boom. He works, whatever he does, he works his plan, he breaks out. His will is strong. He found a way to get out of that prison that he was supposed to be in. So 10 years from the day he got arrested, you see a news report saying that, hey, so-and-so's broke out of jail where we're actually looking for this person. Now, of course, he wants to be back with his baby mom and see the kids, so that's where he goes, right? Now, he still wants to manifest his vision of him back with his woman. Okay, that's what his desire is. That's what he's willing he's been willing to break out of jail to manifest this thing, this moment with his woman. But the other thing we have to keep in mind with manifestation, with will, with frequency, especially when it involves other people, it is not just a thing like working out where it's pretty much all about what you do. Okay, you don't necessarily need to have a trainer or these resources. You just have to have the will and the consistency to go work out or do something actively. And as long as you're doing that, you will be manifesting things. This is not dependent upon other people doing things and other opportunities popping up. It's really just all about you when it's come to your physical body, your physique or whatnot. So when you're manifesting things that it takes other things happening, for example, like, you want to get into the music business, you want to get into Hollywood, you want to get into a college, you want to whatever, get a particular job. Part of that thing manifesting is going to require other individuals to take action as well. Well, everybody is their own force. Everybody has their own will. So just because you're willing to break out of jail and do all this just to go back and see your woman or your baby mom, doesn't mean she's willing to receive you. And she has a will that is her will. You got to respect that. Okay. Or you should. Now, here's the thing. Let's say whose will is going to acquiesce to manifest what they desire. Let's say when he gets out, he finds out his baby mom realized, bro, you got 2-3 life sentences. You not about to get out. She done moved on. She done married somebody else, or she got a husband, had a baby and all that shit, and a new child or whatever, and she's trying to live this new life. So you show up at her door, you done just broke out of jail, and you want to get back with her and you all that stuff, and let's say she's not willing to do that. Let's say she's like, hey, yeah, I've moved on. Okay. And I'm happy where I'm at now. So I'm not willing to go back to dealing with you. Okay. Now you have a clash of wills. Okay. And this is a more extreme example, but this happens on all different examples, even with the things I just mentioned. We're getting music industry, getting in Hollywood, or getting a job or whatever, getting into a college. There's other people who have wills that may oppose what you want to manifest. And you have to deal with that one way or another. Either you acquiesce to their will and you give up on your dream. If somebody else says, nah, we don't want you here, we don't think you're good enough. They told Michael Jordan that back when he got cut from his high school basketball team. They said, yeah, we're not willing to put you on the team. We don't think you cut it. He wasn't willing to take no for an answer. So he did what he had to do to manifest being the GOAT. So at this point, if she's not willing to acquiesce to your will, okay, then either you've got to acquiesce to her will and keep it moving, or if you just that stubborn, foolish, disrespectful, and throw it off, it still comes down to what are you willing to do to manifest something, okay? There are some disturbed individuals, trigger warning, this is not, but there are some individuals who are willing to strong arm a woman to manifest that sexual desire. They're willing to do that. A lot of men aren't. If she ain't trying, I ain't chasing. If she try, I'm replacing. I ain't trying. No, I ain't got time for all that. But some men who ain't too locked in are willing to go further to manifest a sexual desire. They're still an opposing will. She might say, hey, listen, if you don't step out my house, I'm going to shoot you dead. She's willing to kill you to protect herself. Again, whose will's going to win? Hey, There's things you got to take into consideration, but we're all talking about manifestation. Okay. And she may not want to manifest the thing you want to manifest. Okay. And if she's stronger in her will that this is not going to happen, you is not going to have me, guess what? You might end up being a dead motherfucker. Okay. And righteously so. If you're going to try to force yourself upon somebody and not respect their will in that physical manner, that you deserve that. Okay. Or you could keep it moving. All right. And find something else to manifest it or whatnot. So this is the microcosm. Okay. Whether it's the guy in jail who's wants to get with his woman, or it's the guy who wants to build his physique up and live healthier, person, whatnot. It's all a microcosm of how manifestation works. Okay. When they have this thought, the universe starts activating things to set this up. Okay. Now, that's the micro. On the macro, this is where we struggle with. Okay. On the macro, so first of all, okay, so in the microcosm of this manifestation, when the man who was, like, say, in a cell by himself, got a vision of being with the woman, being with this woman, and the universe started activating physically. He got her in a cell by himself. He's erect, ready to go to work, and ain't shit to work on there, okay? But universe is irrelevant. Hey, this is what you said you want to manifest. This is what we're going to do. Now, the difference between that happening on the microcosm level and you trying to manifest something on the macro, like you want to manifest getting into school or getting into the league or whatnot. The difference is, in the micro situation, everything that the universe has to activate is pretty much inside of you. And the benefit of that is to the working out example. The benefit of that is this. If you start working out consistently for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there are going to be little signs that you're going to be able to see. Activations, things that you can be able to look in the mirror. Oh man, I didn't trim down. Oh man, my clothes fit a little bit better, whatnot. These are signs from the universe that what you're doing is actually working and it's actually moving in your favor. Okay. Again, this is because in order for you to manifest nice physique or good health, you are the main component. You are the main thing that has to be activated. Okay? Now, if you're trying to manifest your way into the music industry or into the league or whatever, it's not just all about you. There are things that have to be set up outside of you. People that have to be put in position. Things that have to change that are preparing for you to be in the league or to get that job, okay? And it may not happen in the timing that you think it should, which is the other part you have to keep in mind. Kurt Warner was willing to go to college, graduate college, not get drafted in the league, not get picked up in the off as a free agent. He was willing to continue his career on the arena league, the semi-pro league, playing football while bagging groceries until one day he got a call from the NFL saying, hey, we looking for a quarterback. We want you to come try out. And he was willing to stick to his dream to the point that he make the team. A year or two later, he won a Super Bowl, which was probably something he wanted to do his entire life. Most people that go into sports want to manifest a championship. But what are you willing to do it? How long are you willing to stay to stay on this frequency, in line with this frequency, to get where you're trying to get, to manifest what you're trying to manifest? Kurt Warner was willing to, despite the fact that he didn't get drafted coming out of college, despite the fact that he didn't get picked up, he was willing to stay the course. He did not let these outside objections change his will. He stood strong in his will until the fact that these outside objections had to bend and acquiesce to his will. And that's what ended up happening. Okay? But there are people who they don't get drafted. Guess what? They're going to leave. If they don't get drafted, if they don't get picked up a year or two afterward, they're going to say, hey, man, I tried. And they're going to move on. So they're going to give up. They're going to stop. Their will is going to be directed somewhere. They're not willing to hang in there to the extent that Kurt Warner was. So they're not willing to keep themselves in shape. They're not willing to do what's necessary to manifest that. And they're allowing other people's will to override their will. All right. But again, the whole difference in that is that while Kurt Warner was working bagging groceries, he couldn't see the changes that were happening outside of him, things that may have been happening in this organization. Maybe this guy getting hired by the Rams who end up drafting him, or maybe this quarterback getting injured, or he wasn't able to see all that, even though it was actively working. It was actually working, conspiring in his favor, just like right now in modern day football, or today's football right now. I think Phillip Rivers just got, because the Colts, Indianapolis Colts, just had like their quarterback get injured and their other quarterback thinks not ready. Phillip Rivers, who has been retired from the league, is now getting an opportunity to come back in the league and quarterback at 44. And why? For one, because even though he hasn't been in the league, he still had a vision of him still getting back in the league, that he still wanted to play. So he's still been working on his craft, even though they're like, hey man, you 40, you done. You done. What you doing? What you still doing workouts and stuff where your career's over? You tried, it didn't work out. But because he was willing to stay the course and maintain this frequency of him staying prepared for a moment like what's currently happening, guess what? It's manifesting. He just got picked up by the Colts practice squad and might end up making the roster to help them in the latter part of the season at 44, which is old as shit in sport, in football years, okay? But again, it's his will, his desire. And even though that he couldn't see what was happening, the things that were setting up to create this opportunity for him, he was still willing to stay the course and to stay convicted that this vision he had was going to manifest. And that is ultimately the biggest issue that works against us when manifesting things on the macrocosm, on the bigger level. That's manifesting things that are bigger than just ourselves, bigger than just, well, I need to work out. It's bigger than just things that take other people in other situations to come into play in order for it to manifest. Those things are happening outside of you. You can't see those things happening, even though they are. And a lot of times, what they say, faith is the evidence of things not seen. The evidence of things not seen. When you're working out, there's evidence that you can see that lets you know, hey, the workout's working, okay? When you're trying to get a job or you're trying to get into the league, those things, there's things happening that you can't see. You don't have the evidence, so you have to have faith that the universe is still conspiring in your favor and still activating things, much the same way when you get aroused, the universe starts activating you to prepare for intercourse. Same thing. If you get a vision of something you want to create, the universe starts activating and putting things in place to make that happen. Now, again, much like Kurt Warner, you don't get to particularly dictate when this shit's going to happen. That's what gets a lot of folks, because you have a time schedule in your head that this needs to happen by this time. Okay? And in your mind, if it doesn't happen by this time, then it's just not happening. And this is why you hear all the time about people quitting right before their breakthrough is about to come, because they couldn't see that the universe was conspiring in their favor. They couldn't see that the universe was setting up things for them to win. And before it popped off, they gave up. They lost the will to keep going. They didn't have the, they weren't willing to keep pushing. And that's why it didn't manifest. All the while, it was this close. It was actually about to go. Everything was being set up only for them to, I can't do this no more. It ain't happening. I've been doing this trip on this, trying to do this for X amount of time, and it hasn't happened yet. It ain't waste. It's a waste of my time and energy. And that's the difference. Because you don't get to see the universe working as clearly as you can when you want to go work out, and it's just, and the only thing the universe needs to activate is you. You can't see the things that the universe is activating outside of you. This is why you have to have the faith that the universe is conspiring in your favor, because it is. It's indiscriminate, the same way the universe says, hey, this man might be in a prison cell, but if he's imagining this happening, I'm going to go start set it up. I mean, first thing he got set up is he got to be able to get erect and get this happen, or be able to get access to a blue pill or whatever. It's the same process. It just might take longer depending upon what it is. And you have to be willing to ride it out until it happens with the unshakable faith. When you talk about unshakable faith, that's unshakable will, that's unshakable frequency, meaning, hey, even though I'm not in the league, even though I'm still going to do these things that I know are going to have me prepared for that moment. I'm still willing to do that, even though I may not be seeing the results. Just like with working out. The first day or 2, 3 days you start working out, you're not going to see the results. If your will is weak as shit, you'll work out 1 week and I don't feel like nothing happened. This some bullshit, ain't nothing happening. And you'll give up. Because you're not seeing the results in the time you feel you that's why I say, man, stop. First time you go work out, you get that little pump, you want to go look in the mirror. Hey, bro, chill. You give yourself 2, 3, 4 weeks to actually start seeing the activations happen. With the universe or the microcosm, might have to wait a bit longer before you start seeing the things shape up and shape in place. But again, you have to be solid in your and convicted in your will to do these things and align with that frequency, meaning doing the steps and things you can that align with that vision. And you have to hold the vision. Okay, you have to hold the vision, because holding the vision makes it clearer. The more you hold the vision, the more you build on, the more it makes it clear, the more it makes it specific as to what you're going to create. And hopefully that all made sense. Okay? Hopefully it all made sense. And if you understand the principles, it's undeniable. Okay? It's undeniable principle. Whether it's a man getting erect for procreation, whether it's someone getting physically fit to have their body right, or whether it's someone trying to get into the league or whatnot. The principles are all the same. There's a vision they have, okay? They hold this vision. They're willing to do things to manifest this vision. And because they're willing to do things to manifest this vision that they're holding, they're aligning with the frequency. Because all of this is happening, the universe is activating things outside of them that they cannot see, that they have to have faith in, and what they can't see, but the universe is activating things to set them up in the universe's timing. Maybe not in their timing, but in the universe's timing. Sometimes the universe's timing aligns with your timing and it's beautiful. Sometimes it doesn't and it's a little bit harder, but guess what? It's all worth it when it happens. So that's what I have today. Y'all be blessed, man. Thank you for bearing with me. If you watch to the end, go ahead and subscribe. Follow me, Instagram, Suave World 107 on YouTube, Suave World 107 on TikTok. And just stay tuned, man. 2026 is gonna be a dope year. I got my 3rd book about to come out. So, and you will see me doing more videos when I release my 3rd book based upon the nature of it. As a matter of fact, right now I'm setting up the YouTube page for it. I just set it up for it to help do things. It's called Understand the Man Book. Understand the Man Book. YouTube, and I'm setting my IG page for it, where once the book comes out, because that's the name of the book, Understand the Man. And I'll talk more about that later. But once the book is released, which I plan to release to having it all edited and done and ready to release probably by like February 2026, I will start doing more of a themed videos talking about some of the topics from the book, as well as other topics involving us men and how we process the universe, process the world, and how we are, how we think, how we process. Because as I've said, I've been a man my entire life, so I have an understanding of myself, of what we are, of how we respond, how we see the world, generally speaking. There's always exceptions. Everybody's individual, but in general, there are certain ways that men approach life, that men view society, and those are the things I'm be talking about in the book, because I think understanding is a beautiful thing. But I could get into all that. Again, thank y'all for checking in. Also, man, Worth the Wait. The album is still coming. It's pushed back 2026. I'm going to speak a little bit about that, because I know I've been talking about Worth the Wait, this album, for over 2 years now. And in the interim of me talking about it, I've been releasing other music that's not worth the wait. And the reason is because Worth the Wait is something that I feel is worth the wait. It's not just a regular album. It's something special. It's something dear to me. And until it's the way I want it, sorry, I'm on my Dr. Dre type shit. You know, he talk about like how long he takes to get an album the way he wants it. That's what Worth the Wait is, which is part of the reason why I gave it the title Worth the Wait, because I feel it's something that's worth waiting for, as well as something that's worth its weight in gold. But again, y'all enjoy life, man. Be blessed and prosperous. Suave world, we out, man.